Diane Keaton, born Diane Hall on January 5, 1946, in Los Angeles, California, is one of Hollywood's most enduring and versatile actresses. Known for her distinctive voice, quirky sense of style, and fearless performances, Keaton has carved a singular path in the entertainment industry that spans over 5 decades. Her story is not just one of talent and success, but also of individuality, perseverance, and constant reinvention. Diane was the eldest of 4 children, born to Dorothy Diane Keaton, a homemaker and amateur photographer, and John Newton Ignatius Jack Hall, a real estate broker and civil engineer. From an early age, Diane exhibited a flair for drama and creativity. Inspired by her mother's participation in pageants and amateur theater, she developed an interest in performance and storytelling. Keaton later adopted her mother's maiden name, Keaton, as her stage name when she entered the Screen Actors Guild, since another actress was already registered under Diane Hall. Keaton graduated from Santa Ana High School in 1964, where she was known for her charismatic presence and independent spirit. After high school, she enrolled at Santa Ana College and then transferred to Orange Coast College, but eventually dropped out to pursue acting in New York City. There, she studied at the prestigious Neighborhood Playhouse School of the Theater under the guidance of legendary acting teacher Sanford Meisner. Diane's professional career began on the stage, and her first significant breakthrough came in the original Broadway production of Hair, 1968, in which she gained attention not just for her performance, but also for refusing to appear nude, an unusual and bold choice at the time. However, it was her role as Linda Christie in Woody Allen's stage production of Play It Again, Sam, 1969, that catapulted her into wider recognition. The play was a hit, and when it was adapted into a film in 1972, Keaton reprised her role, marking her first major screen appearance. Around this time, Keaton also landed a pivotal role in Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather, 1972, playing Kay Adams, the girlfriend and later wife of Michael Corleone, portrayed by Al Pacino. Although her role in the first film was relatively modest, it introduced Keaton to a broader audience and marked the beginning of her ascent in Hollywood. She would go on to reprise the role in The Godfather Part 2, 1974, and Part 3, 1990, delivering powerful performances that added emotional depth to the saga. In the early 1970s, Diane Keaton developed both a personal and professional relationship with Woody Allen, which proved to be a defining period in her career. She starred in a series of films directed by Allen, including Sleeper, 1973, and Love and Death, 1975, where her comedic timing and charm were on full display. However, it was Annie Hall, 1977, that would become her signature role and a turning point in cinematic history. The film, which was loosely based on Allen and Keaton's real-life relationship, earned Keaton an Academy Award for Best Actress and established her as a leading lady with both comedic brilliance and dramatic depth. Keaton's early career was marked by her refusal to conform to traditional Hollywood standards. Her unique fashion choices, often featuring men's suits, hats, and oversized layers, set her apart and made her a style icon. Her on-screen presence combined vulnerability with strength, eccentricity with sincerity. She was not just another starlet, she was an original. In the years following her early successes, Diane Keaton would go on to work with some of the most influential directors in film, including Coppola, Allen, and later Nancy Meyers and James Ivory. But it was her boldness in her formative years, choosing challenging roles, standing up for her principles, and embracing her individuality, that laid the foundation for a legendary career. The peak of Diane Keaton's career emerged during the late 1970s and early 1980s, a period marked by not only critical acclaim but also a defining presence in American cinema. It was during this time that Keaton transitioned from being a quirky, charming actress to one of Hollywood's most respected and bankable stars. Keaton's ascent to stardom was solidified with her role in Woody Allen's 1977 classic Annie Hall. The film redefined romantic comedies and catapulted Keaton into a new stratosphere of fame. Her portrayal of the idiosyncratic and lovable Annie was more than a performance. It was a cultural touchstone. With her effortless blend of vulnerability and strength, awkwardness and charisma, Keaton didn't just play Annie Hall, She was Annie Hall. The film won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Actress for Keaton herself. Her unique sense of style, particularly the oversized men's clothing and floppy hats, even sparked a fashion movement that redefined women's fashion in the late 1970s. Following Annie Hall, Keaton continued her streak of powerful performances in films such as Looking for Mr. Goodbar, 1977, where she played a schoolteacher leading a double life, and Manhattan, 1979, another collaboration with Allen. These roles revealed her range and depth, proving she could balance commercial appeal with artistic integrity. One of Keaton's most acclaimed roles came in Reds, 1981, directed by Warren Beatty. In it, she portrayed Louise Bryant, a journalist and political activist. The film was ambitious and politically charged, but Keaton's performance brought a profound emotional core to the historical narrative. She was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress, further cementing her place in Hollywood's elite. Throughout the 1980s, Keaton showed an increasing willingness to take creative risks. She played against type in dark dramas like Shoot the Moon, 1982, and Crimes of the Heart, 1986, while continuing to impress audiences in comedies and romances. Her work with some of the most respected directors, Allen, Beatty, Francis Ford Coppola, and others, demonstrated her adaptability and commitment to challenging material. Beyond the screen, her offbeat charm and intellectualism became a refreshing counterpoint to the Hollywood stereotype. Diane Keaton wasn't just admired, she was respected, even revered, for marching to the beat of her own drum. Her peak era was more than a career high. It was a moment when she became a symbol of authentic womanhood in modern cinema. She showed that leading ladies could be unconventional, cerebral, and unapologetically unique, and still be immensely compelling. As the 1980s came to a close, Diane Keaton had already established a legacy that few could rival. She had not only earned critical and commercial success, but had also broken molds and opened doors for actresses seeking deeper, more complex roles. The pinnacle of her career wasn't just about box office numbers or awards. It was about cultural impact, artistic risk-taking, and a fearless commitment to staying true to herself. Despite Diane Keaton's iconic status in Hollywood, her career has not been without its share of crises and controversies. Known for her quirky charm, eccentric fashion, and commanding screen presence, Keaton has often walked the fine line between public admiration and criticism. Her personal choices, professional risks, and affiliations with controversial figures have occasionally thrust her into the spotlight for reasons beyond her cinematic achievements. One of the most persistent controversies in Keaton's life is her long-standing support and affection for Woody Allen, a director with whom she collaborated on some of her most critically acclaimed films. Allen has faced decades-long allegations of sexual abuse involving his adopted daughter, Dylan Farrow. While many in Hollywood have distanced themselves from Allen, Keaton has remained loyal, often publicly defending him. In interviews, she has described Allen as one of her greatest influences and closest friends, emphasizing her personal experiences over public accusations. This unwavering loyalty has drawn criticism from advocacy groups and fans who argue that her continued support undermines the broader movement for accountability in the film industry. Another crisis that shadowed Keaton's career involved the challenges of aging in Hollywood. Unlike many of her contemporaries, Keaton has consistently rejected the industry's obsession with youth and cosmetic enhancement. She has embraced her aging process with pride, choosing to maintain her natural appearance and refusing to conform to the often unattainable beauty standards imposed on actresses. While this stance has earned her praise as a feminist icon, it has also led to periods of professional drought, where roles offered to her dwindled. In an industry notorious for sidelining older women, Keaton's refusal to play the game became both a badge of honor and a career hurdle. Keaton's romantic life, too, has occasionally stirred public curiosity and scrutiny. Never married and famously private about her personal life, Keaton has had high-profile relationships with stars such as Al Pacino, Warren Beatty, and Woody Allen. Her decision to remain single and adopt children later in life challenged societal norms, particularly during an era when women in Hollywood were often defined by their relationships. In her memoirs and interviews, Keaton has candidly discussed her fears of intimacy and emotional dependence, themes that not only influenced her life but also colored many of the characters she portrayed on screen. While her personal choices were empowering to many, they also sparked criticism from those who viewed them as unconventional or evasive. Additionally, Keaton's unapologetically eccentric persona, reflected in her wardrobe choices, public speeches, and even Instagram posts, has occasionally been misunderstood. Her offbeat humor and cryptic remarks have led some to question her seriousness or relevance in a rapidly evolving entertainment industry. However, others argue that these same traits make her refreshingly authentic in a field too often dominated by scripted perfection. In recent years, Keaton has also faced backlash for comments perceived as tone-deaf or dismissive. A notable instance involved her praise for photographer Terry Richardson, who has been accused of sexual misconduct by multiple models. Keaton posted admiration for his work on social media, sparking a wave of criticism from fans who expected more awareness from a public figure of her stature. Despite these controversies, Diane Keaton has largely maintained her dignity and composure, rarely engaging in public spats or retaliations. She has continued to express herself freely, embracing contradictions and complexities, rather than seeking to sanitize her image. Her ability to remain relevant and beloved, even amid controversy, is perhaps a testament to the multifaceted nature of her public identity. Ultimately, the crises and controversies that have touched Diane Keaton's life serve to highlight not her flaws, but her resilience. She has defied the expectations placed upon her as a woman, an actress, and a public figure. Whether confronting ageism, navigating complex friendships, or weathering public criticism, Keaton has consistently chosen integrity over conformity, individuality over approval. In doing so, she has carved out a legacy that is as bold and unpredictable as the woman herself. After a period of professional quiet and personal introspection, Diane Keaton's return to the limelight wasn't marked by bombastic declarations or radical transformations. Rather, it was defined by a graceful reinvention, one rooted in authenticity, humor, and an unshakable sense of self. While many actors struggle with the aging process in Hollywood, Keaton leaned into it with confidence, rejecting the pressures of conventional beauty standards and instead embracing her distinctive style and individuality. This courageous authenticity became a key part of her comeback, resonating deeply with audiences across generations. Her resurgence began in the late 1990s and early 2000s with a string of successful films that reintroduced her not just as a beloved figure from the past, but as a relevant and commanding performer in the present. Movies like The First Wives Club, 1996, and Something's Gotta Give, 2003, reminded the world of Keaton's remarkable comedic timing, emotional depth, and undeniable screen presence. In Something's Gotta Give, opposite Jack Nicholson, Keaton portrayed a mature woman navigating romance, vulnerability, and professional success, a role that not only earned her a Golden Globe Award, but also redefined how women over 50 could be represented in mainstream cinema. Beyond acting, Keaton expanded her creative pursuits, finding new life as a director, producer, and even author. Her memoirs and photography books offered a glimpse into her inner world, thoughtful, quirky, and deeply human. These works helped endear her further to her audience, particularly women who saw in Keaton a kindred spirit, navigating life's complexities with grace, wit, and resilience. Her comeback was also defined by her advocacy and philanthropic work. Keaton became a passionate advocate for historic preservation, animal welfare, and cancer awareness, using her platform to support causes close to her heart. By doing so, she not only reignited her career but also reshaped her legacy, proving that influence doesn't just come from performance, but also from purpose. Today, Diane Keaton stands as a beacon of reinvention in a fickle industry. Her journey back into the cultural spotlight wasn't driven by scandal or spectacle, but by a steadfast commitment to living truthfully, aging proudly, and continuing to create. She has become an icon, not just for her past achievements, but for how she's chosen to grow, evolve, and stay joyfully relevant in an ever-changing world. Diane Keaton's legacy in Hollywood is one of resilience, authenticity, and groundbreaking artistry. Her impact on cinema stretches far beyond her decades-spanning filmography. It extends into fashion, culture, and the very identity of the modern female star. Keaton defied the conventional image of a Hollywood actress, both in the roles she chose and the way she carried herself off-screen, leaving behind a legacy that redefined what it means to be a leading woman. From her early days in Annie Hall, Keaton carved out a space in the industry that was uniquely hers. She brought to life characters who were witty, complex, flawed, and irresistibly human. Unlike many of her peers, she didn't chase glamour or sexualize portrayals. Instead, she embodied a refreshing realism, portraying independent women grappling with love, insecurity, ambition, and identity. This authenticity resonated deeply with audiences and influenced a new generation of actresses, including Emma Stone, Greta Gerwig, and Jennifer Lawrence, who cite Keaton as a major inspiration. In fashion, Keaton's influence is arguably as strong as her cinematic one. Her signature style, tailored suits, oversized hats, gloves, and turtlenecks, broke away from traditional Hollywood norms of femininity. Popularized in Annie Hall and subsequently embraced by the fashion world, Keaton's aesthetic remains iconic. Designers such as Ralph Lauren and Donna Karan have acknowledged the Keaton effect on and off the runway, and her fashion continues to be celebrated in magazines and on red carpets. As a director and producer, Keaton contributed to a broader understanding of women's voices in film. Her work behind the camera, though less commercially recognized, focused on intimate stories and human connections. She championed female-driven narratives and consistently advocated for women to take leadership roles in the industry, long before these discussions became mainstream. Beyond film and fashion, Diane Keaton has also made her mark as an author, photographer, and preservationist. Her poems often blend personal memoir with visual storytelling, offer insight into her inner world and artistic passions. Her love for architecture and historical buildings led her to restore several California homes, highlighting her commitment to beauty, history, and design. Keaton's legacy is further defined by her refusal to conform. She never married, spoke openly about the complexities of relationships, and adopted her children later in life, decisions that challenged societal expectations and provided a powerful model of independence. She showed the world that a woman's worth isn't tied to traditional milestones, but to her spirit, choices, and contributions. In today's ever-evolving entertainment landscape, Diane Keaton remains a beacon of individuality and strength. Her influence is etched not only in her timeless films, but in the hearts of those who saw a piece of themselves in her characters. She made it okay to be different, to be awkward, to be deeply emotional, yet hilariously dry. She made it okay to be real. Through her fearless authenticity, enduring style, and artistic integrity, Diane Keaton has earned her place as one of the most influential figures in American culture. Her legacy will continue to inspire long after the final curtain closes. Despite a career filled with critical acclaim, box office success, and cultural significance, Diane Keaton's life has not been without personal sorrow. Perhaps the greatest sorrow of her life is one that she has carried quietly, the enduring loneliness that came with never marrying, and her complex, often unfulfilled romantic relationships, particularly with her most famous partners, Woody Allen, Warren Beatty, and Al Pacino. In interviews and in her 2011 memoir, Then Again, Keaton candidly reflects on the deep love she had for these men, especially Allen and Pacino. Though she shared remarkable creative chemistry and intimacy with Allen, and a long, emotionally intense relationship with Pacino, none of these bonds led to a lasting partnership. Her longing for a committed relationship, particularly with Pacino, ended in heartbreak when he refused to settle down. Keaton once admitted that she gave him an ultimatum, marriage or nothing, and when he chose the latter, she walked away, devastated. Another sorrow that deeply shaped Keaton's life was her complicated relationship with her family. Her father, Jack Hall, passed away from brain cancer in 1990. She was incredibly close to him and considered his death a defining tragedy in her life. But perhaps even more enduring was her relationship with her mother, Dorothy Diane, who struggled with Alzheimer's disease for many years before her death. Watching her vibrant and creative mother slowly fade into confusion and forgetfulness was a painful process that profoundly affected Keaton. She has often spoken about how this experience instilled both fear and urgency in her own life, fear of the same fate, and a desire to preserve the essence of who she is through creativity and reflection. Keaton also opened up about her insecurities, her fear of abandonment, and her struggles with self-esteem. Despite her quirky charm and public confidence, she has described herself as someone who often felt awkward and unworthy of love. The contrast between her on-screen personas, strong, independent, witty women, and her private doubts created a poignant duality that she has learned to accept over time. Still, perhaps her most intimate grief was the realization that her desire to be a mother would be fulfilled later in life, but not in the traditional way. She adopted 2 children, Dexter and Duke, in her 50s, a decision that brought her immense joy, but also underscored the fact that she had waited too long to build the kind of family she had always dreamed of. Diane Keaton's greatest sorrow, then, is not one single event, but a tapestry of emotional wounds. Love unreciprocated, family lost to time and illness, and the quiet ache of solitude that accompanied a life lived largely on her own terms. Yet, even in her sorrow, Keaton has found meaning. She has channeled her pain into art, writing, and performances that resonate with authenticity and vulnerability. Her ability to turn personal loss into creative strength is part of what makes her legacy so deeply moving and so profoundly human.